Hello, my name is Olurotimi Osha. Today, I want to discuss the lack of discipline in the police force. So, our law enforcement, that's, I'm talking about, the state police. Of course, we don't have a centralized policing system, and each state, each county, the various jurisdictions, they do operate their policing system. But something that seems to be a pattern amongst these various cops across America, well, is the corruption, the public corruption. So I saw in the news today that a police chief named John Lau from Titusville, right, police chief of Titusville in Brevard County in Florida, was terminated by the city manager for failing to take a blood test, right, an alcohol test. He refused to submit to an alcohol test after John Law, the chief of police, had got into a one-way car crash, right? So, in his city-owned SUV, which had rolled over, and so he was transported to the medical center, to a hospital. But and where the police commander tried to conduct uh, a an alcohol test, you know, just procedure, uh, following procedure, the police chief refused, and the next day the manager terminated him. Well, there was a reason, of course, to submit the police chief to an alcohol test because at the scene of the collision, a an empty vodka bottle was found, and they found that the his crashed SUV, which was city owned, was reeking of alcohol, and the police chief himself, John Lau, was also reeking of alcohol. There was the odor of alcohol coming from his breath and his whole person. Now, this is not unusual because I discovered something myself a few months ago. I had gone to the headquarters of Montgomery County Police um, to try and file a police statement. I was being given the wrong runaround. I was, because I'd been asked, I reported this matter to the FBI. The FBI said, okay, they submitted the matter to Internal Affairs to investigate. But I was also asked to file a police statement at the police where, um, the police station which was involved in my swatting. So the Montgomery County Police Department did something illegal. On May 16, 2023, they executed a, a swatting, right, based on a perjured emergency evaluation petition in which they suborned um, Jide Wariri, a Howard University professor who fabricated and perjured, um, an emergency petition, right, which was just completely fabricated. I was living alone. I was a victim of a swatting. I've done videos explaining what a swatting is, and the police brutalized me. They shot at me and removed me naked, right? Gassed me, removed me naked in my home. Everything they did was illegal. They had no arrest warrant. But on top of that, um, of course, I was removed. My wallet was stolen. I had cash in the house was stolen. My debit cards, my credit cards, and then somebody used my debit card to withdraw about money cash from my bank account, about $350. So lots of that's apart from the cash that was stolen in my home. My luxury wristwatches were stolen. I had wristwatches, very expensive wristwatches. They were stolen. My US passport ID was stolen. That's the ID card was stolen. My certificate of naturalization was stolen. That's a felony. Um, my camera, expensive Canon camera was stolen. My clothes were stolen. My colognes, my perfumes, expensive perfumes were stolen. So various things. My recorder I had electronic recording devices. They were stolen. All these things were stolen, right? And I'm not a thief. I'm not a fraudster. I work hard and I legit, I buy my things honestly, and those are my possessions, right? So I was trying to simply make a police state, file a police report because I was asked to file a police report, but I was being given the wrong runaround. The first police station I went to referred me back to the police station in whatever. I didn't want to go there, so I went to Rockville Police Station to try and report it. Since Montgomery County police officers who assaulted me filed false charges, filed a false statement against me saying I was the one who assaulted them, even though the body cam shows that I was a victim of their assault. They're the ones who assaulted me. They staged the whole thing, they orchestrated this assaulting, but they lied. The state attorney, of course, John McCarthy, should not have filed the false charges against me. We all know why the false charges were filed. It's to prevent me from being able to file a lawsuit and to prevent the prosecution of the offending police officers. But in any event, uh, so I've been deprived of my rights. For over 3 years now, and I was just trying to regain my property because initially I was told that the police was held in my property was held in police custody. Eventually, I found out that it wasn't. But in any event, so I was told to go and file a police statement, regarding theft. So I was given a runaround and told to go all the way to the headquarters, right, of Montgomery County Police. So I went there in Gaithersburg. So I had to wait. The people I met on that day were very kind, very polite, but they called this guy who was patrolling and they said he's the one who's going to be able to take my statement. So I waited, waited, waited. So eventually the guy was outside and they told me to go. I made him outside. So he'd been driving and he was arriving. He was coming from, I think he went out on a patrol or whatever. So this huge police, because it was a headquarters, but I had to wait for this one guy, right? So anyway, so when I go to him, he was a very pleasant person. He was a heavy set guy, very pleasant. But unfortunately, I started this video talking about the police chief at Brevard County, Titusville police chief, who'd been fired for reeking of alcohol and refusing to take an alcohol test. So this police officer that I had been waiting for, that was supposed to take my statement or assist me, he was reeking of alcohol. I could smell him. It was like his ears, everything. His pores were just, suffusing or emanating, pushing out alcohol. His pores was reeking of alcohol. His eyes, everything, and he was disoriented. So I was supposed to give him a. He was supposed to take a statement. So eventually he seemed disoriented because he was clearly drunk. But this was a guy who had just driven a car. So you see the police, they break their laws. I guess it's routine, right? So it's unfortunate. So he took me back in and gave me a form. So he asked me that, well, I can't make a police report at the station but I had to do it, that they changed the system that I had to do it online. Meanwhile, I'd been to another station and those people were asking me that, look, it's been 3 years. Why are you just filing a police report for theft of your property? I said no, that first of all, I was wrongfully detained. And once I was released, I went online and I filed a report on this. And then this police officer then lied, saying they don't have an online portal, a means, a tool, uh, or an application to report um, an incident online. So this person just gave me wrong information, something that I saw. I wasn't going to argue with them. I kept quiet. I told them that, look, I filed this online. I saw a tool. I filed it online. The police officer was a female, said, no, that they don't have such a thing. So I was directed to the headquarters. And when I met this guy who was reeking of alcohol, told him what had happened. And he said, well, he can't take the report, right, the statements, that it has to be done online, that they've changed it. That was what he told me. So he gave me a pamphlet, a brochure. He took so much time looking for this simple brochure. And, I just wondered, and so that there are lots of bizarre, interesting details about my interaction with the police that day, and it's really really sad. So when I saw this story today about Titusville Police Chief John Lau being fired for refusing by the city manager for refusing to submit to an alcohol test after he had crashed. He had been involved in a one way crash in a city owned SUV, which was reeking of alcohol, in which a an empty vodka bottle was found in the car at the scene. So um, I just remembered, what I experienced in Montgomery County, Maryland. A Montgomery County cop was reeking of alcohol while on duty, while driving. So you see, the cops break laws. They break laws. They falsify incident reports. They attack law-abiding Americans. On As of the day I was assaulted, I was actually a federal government auditor, right, in the Department of the Navy. So they assaulted me. It's astonishing, in my own home without an arrest warrant. They besieged me, spread disinformation to my neighbors, lied about what was going on, and removed me naked and dumped me in a hospital, recording me, video recording me. They did that to actually obstruct justice, and then they lied because it was a false flag operation, and they now lied uh, that it was all initiated by my family. Jide Wari, the Howard University professor who filed a perjured emergency evaluation petition after he had been stalking me, after he had assaulted me, after he'd come with a neighbor on May 14, 2023, and attempted to kidnap me, in which I called the police because I was stunned, and my friend spoke with the police, Sergeant Charles Drengwitz, and then they went on to fabricate the incident of what happened on that day. So the cops are immensely corrupt, right? Something has to be done nationally, right, to change policing in America, because they're violating, our constitutional rights, and they're disgrace to our democratic values. Of course, something that's been making the news, the round of news in New York, is the FBI investigation of NYPD officers for corruption. Anyway, my name is Olurotimi Osha, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you.